Hello, pile number one. So we're doing a reading. As you can see by the title, their first impression of you. So their first impression of you, pile number one, is they saw you as a skillful and a powerful person, or somebody who is able and competent. Your physical stance was very confident, um, but also they saw you as a bit standoffish here, or even defensive. It's like you were on guard. So you may have been smiling at them, for example, but you were ready to pounce, um, like a cheetah. I'm talking about, you were just ready. You were in a situation where you were like very vigilant regarding your surroundings. Um, so your eyes may have been, scanning the room. So it's possible that you were like in a new situation or a new environment, or something like that. And mm, they actually noticed this, you know. It's like outwardly you tried to present a peaceful aura about you, but there was like a storm raging underneath the surface. I'm talking about your emotions. Perhaps you were excited, or you know um, you felt a level of adrenaline uh, rushing through your veins. So basically this is normal when somebody is in a new environment, and emotions are high, because obviously you don't know what to expect, but you didn't want to wear your emotions on your sleeve, or you were trying to hide what was going on inside of you, um, as best that you could. you know um, their impression was also that you are somebody experienced, or somebody who already had their share of experience. Your face is very expressive, pile number one. um, so they also got the impression or feeling that you might be somebody who who also knows how to have a good time as well, or maybe they saw in you something that they could relate to. um, you know yeah, they saw, like I said, your face is very expressive, so perhaps they related to something in your face, because your face, you do have a kind face. So perhaps their first impression was you to be somebody who, with whom they could like have a laugh over like a friendly drink or something like this. They also got the impression that you may be a little bit overwhelmed, you know, um, at that time. I'm speaking about that time, because this is their first impression of you. So perhaps you were in that time a little bit overwhelmed by the whole situation that you were in. So also they noticed something about your attire or the way you dress. So specifically something about the color yellow, or yeah, something about uh, the color gold, or maybe you were wearing some gold jewelry. Mm, you may also have blonde hair, or you were holding on to like a yellow notepad, or maybe yellow was the color of your overall aura. the color yellow is significant here in some sort of a way, but yeah, their first impression of you is that you seemed very friendly. Like I said, you do have a kind face, so you seemed very friendly in general, but they could also notice the depth that you have stored, like underneath the facade. Um, because your face is very expressive, so yeah, the depth was very it was like undeniable. You couldn't hide it. Or emotions, we're talking about your emotions. You couldn't hide your emotions even though you tried to. So yeah, so it's like the first impression of you was that, like, underneath the surface is a level of depth that it's like you could not hide from view, you know um, yeah. So basically, this is their first impression of you, pile number one. Thank you. Hello, pile number two. So their first impressions of you is you were somebody that attracted a lot of attention. So their first impression of you was jealousy, or rather, that's what they felt when they saw you, because they could see that everybody's eyes were on you. So jealousy is prevalent here. They were jealous by maybe who was watching you. There is definitely like affection here. So two scenarios are possible here. Either they liked you and didn't want anybody else to notice you, or the person who they like was watching you and they were jealous. So this could also be like a love triangle, but not necessarily, because um, we're talking about first impressions. So this person may have been making things difficult for you ever since the first time they saw you, because their first impression of you was jealousy, or they felt jealousy for you, and that still lingers until the present day, like in their thoughts. So whoever it is that you're inquiring about, um, and it's like in the beginning you were completely oblivious of this person, or their feelings, but somehow you just didn't want to be in their presence. You could like feel it straight away as well. And this is also the way you feel now. It's like you may know this person, but you are like, you're just done with it, because it's like every time you're in their presence, you feel like a negative vibe coming from them. You can't like quite put your finger on it, but you just you feel it. So it's like, even at present time, you're like done with all the drama, because the drama is not yours. You're dealing with somebody who's feeling a lot of jealousy when it comes to you. And like I said, this has been going on since the first time that they saw you. So in the beginning, they got this impression of you, and you know they're holding on to it. So um I see you swiftly like moving away from this person, like I was talking about. um every time you see them, it's like you just want to like leave the room, because um it's like you've always tried to be friendly with them, but um whatever you say or do, it's never right. So yeah, because this person just keeps the situation going. It's like they can't let go of the jealousy. Whenever they see you, or whenever uh, your name comes up, um, yeah, this person just can't get out of their head, um, with their thoughts that they have uh, regarding you, or their first impressions of you. So they keep mulling something over in their minds, that has to do with you. Um, Also, they noticed you to be a very strong person, um, or at least that was their first impression, or that you possess like a level of strength that they wish they could have, you know, um, a level of personal strength, or the ability to like stand tall in the face of opposition. Um, you know, this could be one of the reasons for their jealousy. Um, but yeah, the theme of jealousy keeps coming up in their impression of you, because they compare themselves with you, like ever since the beginning, um, and they're still doing so until this day. It's like they have some sort of complexes, or they feel inferior to you in some regard, or they feel like a failure in comparison with you. And the way that they are expressing their feelings is through jealousy. This is the first impression that you gave them, and um yeah, they're just basically holding on to it. So yeah, this is basically your reading, pile number 2. I hope it gave you some insight, so thank you. Okay, hello, pile number 3. So we're doing a reading about their first impressions of you, and their first impressions of you is that you are a person who is carrying a lot of heavy burden. So somebody who beats themselves up over things that happened in the past. Their first impression of you is somebody who is spiritual, or somebody with kind eyes, or somebody who is on the path of like self-forgiveness, because your physical stance, um, or your body language is like perhaps a little bit slouched over. So this is what gave them the impression of like you carrying some heavy burdens on your shoulders. But there's definitely a kindness to your eyes, and yeah, they just see somebody who's been through something, or their first impression is, or was, they see somebody who's been through something, but um it's like you're trying to stand tall. That's why the image of like, not the image, but they get the impression of like you're on the path of self forgiveness, for something that was like that happened in the past. So it's like there is a calm but melancholy demeanor to you. So this is what you embody, like based on their impressions. um their first impression of you is somebody who has been perhaps judged in the past, very harshly, um even possibly by yourself. They saw in you somebody who could see two sides of one coin. Because you have kind eyes, their impression of you was like somebody who is fair. You can see two sides to the same story and like judge accordingly or correctly. So they definitely see you as, or they saw you as a fair person or like a balanced person. Um, yeah, somebody who could make a fair decision. Um, because you've been on both spectrums, like good and bad. Um, so yeah, this is their first impression. Also, they see you as somebody who is responsible, or somebody that can carry the heavy burden of responsibility. You know, um, yeah, they see you as, perhaps their first impression was of you being slouched over or something, you carrying a heavy burden. Um, but it's like they also see that y- you can carry the heavy burden. You're not weak. Um, so they also saw you as a dependable person, or like um, their impression of you was somebody whom they could trust. Um, they saw you as somebody who is like sitting on the sideline and like watching others play or watching over others. Um, there's like a very paternal energy to you, you know, um, like a parent carrying or shouldering some heavy responsibility, but like not putting it on the child. Like the child doesn't um, have a clue about it. They their first impression of you was somebody protective, um, but maybe also somebody who needs protection themselves. So their first impression of you was um, also somebody who is introverted, or somebody who escapes in their own thoughts. So they saw somebody with decisions to make, perhaps some heavy, difficult decisions to make, or you being indecisive, or rather you weighing things over, for the best possible result. And, also they saw you as somebody who was, like I said in the beginning, perhaps disappointed um, by the past, but is on their way of renewal and recovery. So basically, their first impression of you is, or was, somebody very able. Yeah, definitely very able, very emotionally strong. Um, you know, just an overall energy of competence. Yeah, they saw you as somebody who is competent and kind, but carrying shouldering some sort of a heavy burden that perhaps um, you know it's due to your past, or whatever it is that you've been through thus far. So yeah, that's their first impression of you. Pile number 3. I hope you got something out of that reading that could relate to you. So thank you very much.